When I first watched the latest episode of The Bad Batch, Faster, I enjoyed it. If you saw my review, I said it wasn't my favorite of the season so far, but I thought the race itself was great fun. Still, I was kind of preparing myself for people on the internet yelling that the episode was filler, and then I was delighted to find that didn't happen. I'm sure it did a little bit, but the response I saw was very positive. I saw a lot of love for Riot Racing and the droid racer Teo. It was really nice. I definitely think the story moved the overall plot forward, specifically regarding Sid, but even if it didn't, the episode was just undeniably fun. I think a lot of that fun came from the race and the speed of it all, which has always been important to Star Wars and George Lucas. Growing up, he had plans to become a race car driver until he was injured in a horrible car accident. He changed the course of his life, but he never lost that need for speed, instead pushing it into his filmmaking. Star Wars fans are familiar with his most famous direction to actors, faster and more intense. His first feature film, THX 1138, ends with a big car chase. His second film, American Graffiti, is all about the nostalgia of cruising around and street racing and hot rods. And of course, Star Wars is full of racing itself, even beyond George's own creations. We have speeder bikes, pod racing, chases through Coruscant, the ace pilots of Star Wars Resistance, now Riot Racing, and Super Bombad Racing. Actually, forget I said that last one. But even without the inclusion of a literal race in the original Star Wars, Lucas's love for speed is apparent. First, in the pacing and structure. Looking back on A New Hope now, it actually feels a little slow, but in the audio commentary for the film, George talks about how in 1977, it was lightning fast. He was throwing so much at the audience that they had never seen before. It was one of the very first blockbusters, so it helped define films moving forward. A New Hope might seem slower now, but movie pacing got faster because Star Wars exists. Within the story, we have Han Solo boasting about how fast the Millennium Falcon is, we've got frantic dogfights that were mind-blowing in the 70s, but the best example of speed, and one of my favorite behind-the-scenes Star Wars stories, has to do with Luke's race against the clock in the trench run. First, we should address the structure again. Originally, the Rebels were going to just attack the Death Star somewhere random in space. The Y-Wings would make their failed attack run, Red Leader would make his failed attack run, then Luke would make a failed attack run using the targeting computer, then he would make his final successful attack run using the Force. To add to the intensity, the idea that the Death Star would be about to blow up the Rebel base on Yavin 4 was added in the edit thanks to the hard work of Marcia Lucas, Paul Hirsch, and Richard Chew, and Luke's 2 attack runs were combined into one. But the trench run itself is where the real speed is. It's what made me fall in love with that sequence, and that sequence is what I credit for me falling in love with Star Wars, specifically A New Hope and Rebel pilots. George Lucas's main priority for the trench run was speed. He wanted the X-Wings to be inspired by dragster race cars, and he had a complete disregard for real-world physics, which I love. The excellent book The Making of Star Wars says Lucas had a hard time convincing others of just how fast the TIE fighters and X-Wings should be going in that trench, because he wanted them to really move. Others argued that the trench was so wide that the background walls would remain relatively static given the scale no matter how fast the starcraft were going, whereas Lucas wanted the walls to be close to a blur. The trench bothered George, Star Wars producer Gary Kurtz said. He felt that the trench didn't go by fast enough, and John Dykstra's biggest argument was that if the trench is 300 yards wide, the walls are not going to go by fast. The faster the walls go by, the smaller the scale, and that argument George and John had a lot. It's how you perceive speed versus distance in your mind. The director eventually made his point, and the breakneck race to the exhaust port was completed. Basically, the undeniably amazing people at ILM filmed the trench run to look realistic, and George said, "No, don't make it look real, make it look fast." Fans still have arguments like that to this day about what would or wouldn't happen, but George never cared about any of that, going so far as to say, "In my world, there is air in outer space, when I want it." I also think the argument can be made that when Star Wars does lean towards realism instead of speed, it doesn't always work. Anyway, the episode Faster immediately connected me back with all those thoughts and George Lucas's philosophies regarding speed and filmmaking, and of course it also mixes in some commentary on favoring defense over aggression and thoughtfulness over brute force. It might not go down as one of the most well-remembered episodes of The Bad Batch, but it is a good Star Wars story. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all our Bad Batch coverage, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page for video reactions and audio commentaries for every episode as well. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.